Hey everybody, Greg Harrelson here with Century 21, the Harrelson Group, of course, with my co-host Abe Safa, also a Century 21, the Harrelson Group. We want to start off the new year by continuing to give you good quality information on what's going on in the local real estate market. But first, let me say Happy New Year to you, Abe. How are you?
I'm doing well. Happy New Year, Greg. Happy New
Yeah.
Year, everybody out there watching this.
Yes, Happy New Year to everybody out there. I hope everyone had a relaxing holiday and are looking for and re-energized to take on 2021.
Absolutely. Excited about it. I think it's going to be a great year.
Yeah, well, hey, Abe, I know you have some market stats that you're going to share, and I know that the our audience sure does appreciate those. And but before we start sharing those numbers, I just wanted to just talk about the beginning of the year, because I think what we're going to see is we're going to see the first few months of this year are probably going to start off very fast. We anticipate having quite a bit of sales, a lot of activity in the first 60 days. And a lot of that has to do with, we can tell by the buyer traffic that we're having on our websites, as well as the conversations that we're having with potential buyers that are coming into Myrtle Beach or even moving across town. We're hearing conversations like, hey, look, we've been putting off our plans for the last 2 years, but for some reason, this is going to be the time. We've decided we're definitely moving down to Myrtle Beach. So we just see that people seem to be getting off the fence and saying, this is going to be my year. And we see that it's going to probably start kicking in pretty fast. Anything you can add to that? I know we've been talking about that a little bit, Abe.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm starting to see a good surge of buyers coming into the market. I'm also seeing a surge of people wanting to get their property on the market. You know, people kind of wanted to ride out COVID, ride out 2020, and then wait for the new year. So there's been those people are ready to get back on the market, which is good because we need the inventory. Right now inventory is just so tight, and we're going to see when we talk about numbers how low inventory really is.
Yeah, I put a lot, just before you start the numbers, I put a lot on the market, on the waterway. And I believe that lot was, the sales were 300,000. The previous sales were anywhere from 295 to 305. And there was nothing else on the market. Somebody calls me up and says, hey, they want to sell it. And, look, I was being hired by a seller. So my fiduciary duty is to do the best that I can for the seller. I recommended that they put that property on at 245 or 345,000. We sold that thing for $35,000 more than the last one had sold. And it took me less than 45 days to get that thing under contract.
Wow.
That just kind of, and a lot of times when we're selling a piece of land like that, a lot of times it's a cash transaction. So I wasn't really worried for appraisal issues, but, we found a buyer who wanted that property. They recognized there was nothing on the market. They knew somebody else was going to buy it if they didn't. And my seller ended up winning with a high sales price. So those are the types of things. So when we say, hey, it's a good time to be on the market, if you're thinking about selling, then that's why we mention that.
Yeah, there's no question. So in that particular scenario, we're seeing that pretty often right now, where if it's the only home in the community, we're getting more, higher price. Like for instance, Prestwick, Prestwick community. I mean, for the longest time, their prices were kind of, I don't want to say depreciated, but they were pretty low and set at a certain price for a while. But now all of a sudden, the last 3 or 4 months, we had some really good comps in there because there's no inventory. So when you look at all the Prestwick, I think there's 2 homes right now in the last 4 or 5 sales have done really well in there because of the lack of competition in there.
Yeah. So I guess the message is, if you're one of those that said 2021 is going to be the year that you're going to take some action, then please just reach out to us, because we can help you. And what you can count on is that we'll be extremely transparent, very honest, and upfront with you. We'll be data based, so we'll use logic to come up to the conclusions, but we'll also make sure we help you maximize your equity and prevent you from leaving money on the table. So tell us about the statistics. Tell us about what's going on in the market right now.
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about this for a while, inventory being super low. So this time around, instead of pulling up the usual graphics, I want to take us right into the computer itself and show you some of the numbers.
Okay.
So this is what we see on the back end as realtors. Only realtors have access to this in the MLS. and it shows you all different kinds of data points. So this particular data point that we're looking at goes back all the way to 2006. So January of 2006 up until end of December. And this is single family homes that have been previously owned. So this is all resales. Remember, when we look at these numbers, we've been talking about how low inventory is for resale homes and how many are pending. But this is the month's supply of previously owned single family homes, and look how low it's gotten since April. It went from 4.6 to 4.2 to 3.7 to 3.4, all the way down, and then it closed out the year at 2 even. So that means there's only a 2-month supply of resale homes in the entire market right now. 2 months. So that means if no homes hit the market, Greg, we'll be out of inventory, out of homes to sell in 60 days.
Yeah.
So to me, that's a crazy number. Like if we go, well, we'd have to go all the way back to right here, February of 2006, which, they're right in the middle of the housing bubble, to see low levels of inventory like that. So to me, when I looked at that this morning, I was like, wow, this is something I have to share. That's why I'm skipping the usual graphics and going with this.
Yeah. Can I just add too, because, when somebody looks at this and they see, wow, it looks like it was high and now it's low, that's actually if you're an owner, that's the direction that you want it to go in. So going from high to getting lower and lower and lower, that just means that there's another graph that would show that days on the market is going down and prices are going up. So just understand, for sellers, that's a good thing. That's not prices going down. That's inventory going down, which tends to mean prices going up.
Absolutely. Yeah. So the law of supply demand, the less inventory out there, the less competition, the more leverage a seller has and can leverage that and get higher prices. So you mentioned days on the market. Well, let's take a look at that. So look, days on the market has dropped to 73 as a median. So back to 2012, I mean, we've been in around that 165, the 140s. We've been around that 140 range for the longest time. And then you see little by little, as inventory gets slower, you see these homes sell quicker, is what's happening. So it's 73 days on the market as of the end of December, which was down 19% from the previous year. Now looking at the number of homes for sale, I mean, look at this. Look how this has dropped. So all of this is right from COVID until now, right? So from March, we had 2,282 homes on the market, and look how month after month it just kept dropping and dropping and dropping. And right now, there's only, as far as resales, 1,133 homes available right now. I mean, but look at this right here, Greg. 48% drop in inventory from December of last year.
Yeah, it's incredible.
That's half the inventory that we typically have right now.
Yeah, incredible.
And let's take a real quick look at the condo market. Let's look at the month supply first, and you'll see something comparable, right? Not as drastic as homes, but there's still a lot of demand for condos. It's down to 3.3 month supply for condos, and it's the same thing. For the longest time, it just kind of leveled out right around the 4 or 5 month supply for the longest time. For 2 or 3 years. And then all of a sudden, since COVID, boom, we've seen a drop.
Yeah.
Days on the market for condos down to 79 days. From used to be 140 back in 2017, January 2017. So little by little, again, the same thing happening because of the lack of inventory out there, or the limited supply of inventory out there. It's driving condos to sell quicker and for a better price. And when we look at how many for sale, again, you'll see the same graph: 1,700 condos on the market right now, 23.5% less than we typically have for end of December. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's quite extraordinary. It really is. And what's really extraordinary is how all this has been going on with around COVID, meaning the market has just remained super active, even though COVID exists. And that's not to say I'm not giving opinions on COVID by any means, but boy, in March of 2020, when COVID first took off, or at least it became a topic around the country, we were really wondering what in the world was going to happen to the real estate market. And now we know what happened, at least for the last year. is the market just got stronger and stronger. Now, of course, there's something to say, and we're going to see, assuming that COVID kind of goes away at some point, however that happens, assuming that does take place, we'll see if that's where more people have confidence to list their property again. So there are people that are not listing. There's inventory that's being held back because maybe they don't want to have showings. They don't want to have people, strangers coming through their house. Very understandable. And so that's probably contributing to some of the lack of inventory. So as confidence, increases and people, start to see some sort of certainty around the national health concerns, then we may see the inventory going up a little bit. But it's so low right now, and buyer demand is so high. I think for the entire year of 2021, we're probably going to see very good pricing. I know, at least in my mind, for the next 6 months, it's going to be a seller's market. And I think between now and the first 90 days, I think some sellers are going to hit extremely high prices that no one would have ever saw coming. And then inventory starts coming on the market, and then it just kind of levels off, which means it doesn't necessarily go down. It just doesn't go to extremes. It probably levels off. That's what my crystal ball says. Of course, we know that I don't really have a crystal ball, and so we'll kind of measure this on a weekly basis.
Yeah, and I'm in agreement with you. I'm just, the one thing I'm kind of interested in seeing is, you remember when we shut down, and then as soon as we opened up, we had this huge surge of buyers coming in?
Yes.
I'm wondering that once people get more comfortable with, when the vaccine starts kicking in and all that stuff's happening, and people get more comfortable and restrictions open up, if we're going to see that same type of surge with sellers. Because like you said, there's a lot of people that are holding back that still don't really want to show their home. They're kind of concerned, waiting to see what happens. But I'm wondering if I think these first 3 months are going to be by far a seller's market. This is the time to really max out your sales price. But I'm wondering if the second quarter, third quarter, if we get a surge of sellers at that point. That'll be interesting to see what happens there.
Yeah, that'll be very interesting. It's going to take something to level it off.
Right.
I mean, at some point, inventory has to hit the market, whether it's resales, it's builders, or whatnot. Something has to give. It's just a matter of when. So, we could be getting towards the top, but again, we're not going to see it. We're not likely to see anything major when it comes to any type of downturn. Not in the next couple of months, and probably not in 2021. So we'll see what happens. I surely am always careful at making predictions, but that's where we stand now. So again, thank you for putting that up, Abe. So if you all have any questions or want to reach out to us, we're giving you our direct cell numbers. There's Abe's number, my number. Feel free. You can text us. Feel free to just text us. If you have a question, just text us a question. We'll text you right back and answer the question or provide any information that you need. We sure would love to earn your business if you're thinking about selling or thinking about buying in the area. You just let us know how we can help you. All right, Abe, thank you for bringing that data, and we'll see you next week.
Sounds good, Greg. Take care. Thank you all for watching.